Welcome to day 2 of Wholesaling University. I am your professor, Zach Ginn. Okay. And I am here to teach you how to wholesale real estate step by step. And so, specifically, we are in Wholesaling 201 today. We are talking about closing wholesaling real estate sellers. More specifically, you are at Closers University, Closing 101, Closing University, whatever you want to call it. If you have a fear of talking to sellers on the phones, if you do not know how to close a motivated seller, this is exactly the entire stream for you to watch today. And so we're still in college, okay, Wholesaling University, but we're talking very, very specifically about Closing University. Now we have a special guest joining us, amazing closer at the end of this too today. So we're exciting. We have a co-professor, okay, who is joining us today too. But Professor Zach is in, and we are talking about mastering acquisitions. And so we had a lot of people excited about Wholesaling 101 yesterday. I think Closers University is going to be really exciting too. And so this is going to be my entire setup on how to close sellers. It's going to be pretty dang exciting. So we talked about yesterday exactly how to find motivated sellers and all these things. We're going to get a little more specific today, right? So we're going to get more on the closing side, the acquisitions side, talking to seller side, all that stuff. So you can go out here and become a boss on the phones. And so we got some people all excited here. So I'm pumped up for this. I'm ready to go. And so let's share my screen here and let's talk about Closers University. So again, we are currently live right now. And I think, did I tell everyone we're giving away XLeads for an entire year? We're giving a full scholarship to XLeads tonight. So one lucky winner, one lucky guy or gal is going to win an entire year of XLeads completely on me for free. They get over $1,000 of XLeads. They're going to get completely for free today. It's going down, right? And so all you have to do is stay on for this entire stream, and you're going to win an entire year of XLeads. And so that's how I bribe you, to actually get good at wholesaling is you actually listen to me. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's turn into an elite closer in the wholesaling space. And so let's break this all down. And so I'm excited. I'm pumped up. So again, this challenge is going to be 100% zero budget. Like I said before, you don't need any cash, any software, anything like that. And you are going to have success. And so again, if you don't know, this is Closers University. This is our challenge. This is our 3-day challenge. We've been calling it Wholesaling University. And this is going back to school, learning how to wholesale real estate step by step. And I promise you and everybody in here that you can do this. And so Closers University, I don't know if that's week 3 here, but we're going to talk about these specific things. Again, we're talking about how to convert sellers. We're going to talk about our acquisitions flow. We're going to talk about how to manage your leads, closing scripts, and objection handling. So the first thing we got to talk about here is how to convert people who want to sell to a signed contract. Again, that is what acquisitions is. That is what quote unquote closing is. See, a lot of people believe that closing a motivated seller, right? Closing somebody is the simple art of like Wolf of Wall Street. You take your phone and say, Sam, if you can feel you selling the house, work with me now. Give me the yes, you're going to go with me. And like it don't work. Like, that's literally what everybody thinks closing a motivated seller is about. Like, it is not that. Like, you guys have seen me do hundreds of closes, like live, but no one's really ever seen, oh my God, like no one's ever gone out here and really seen the whole entire like setup here on how you can go out here and start closing the right way. And so we're pumped up for this. We're excited. And we're ready to go. And so what is close? So closing is basically qualifying. That personally for me, qualifying is closing. So again, hey, I want to buy your house. I don't want to sell my house. So most people think closers are just like, well, actually, let me tell you some secret words that make you actually want to sell your house. That's not what closing is. Everyone thinks closing is, I want to sell my house. Well, I'll give you an offer. I'm interested in an offer. This is my offer. That's a little high. Well, could you do this price? Sure. Boom, that's closing. So closing is 90% just qualifying. So it's just making sure that the person's actually ready for a cash offer. See, the point here is most wholesalers, okay, do not want to sell their house. And I actively do something crazy. This is what I do for my closing. I actively tell people I'm not the right fit for them. You probably shouldn't even go with me. That is how I that's how I'm one of the best closers ever, right? According to I Speed the Lead, a lot of people I Speed the Lead believe I am one of the best closers on PPL. That they've said it live, not me. And the reason why they think I'm one of the best closers on PPL is not because I do a lot of PPL. It's clearly because of one thing. I'm good at talking to a seller, right? I'm good at building rapport. I'm good at building a connection with somebody, which we're going to talk about today. And I'm good at just making an offer. Simple as that. And that's essentially what I'm teaching today. My entire system of how I can talk to a seller, basically become best friends with them after 5-10 minutes. Obviously, it's hard to do over the phone, right? Like the seller can't see my sexy face, and so they don't instantly fall in love with me. So I have to use my actual skills, building rapport with a motivated seller. But the whole point here is you build a connection with somebody, right? But how do you build a connection with someone, right? You build a connection with somebody by talking about common interests. That is the main part about keeping it real with someone. So a lot of people are like, Zach, you're technically wrong. It's not keeping a common interest. It is. So for example, if this person's a family person, you want to talk about how you're a family person. If this person is a trustworthy person, you want to talk about how you're a trustworthy person. It's fundamental, like building blocks of trust. And then you get into sports teams and all that crap. So the point here is to learn how to close somebody. It's just converting someone from wanting to sell to a signed contract. That is what closing is. Hey, I want to sell my property. Okay. Hey, I want to sell. Okay, well, let's sign a contract and let's go give you a cash offer. Simple as that. And so let's break it all down. Let's get into it, and let's get into closing university. And so first and foremost, I want to say this again. I'm going to say it from the rooftops. We do not force a sale. You are not selling anything. You're writing a contract to buy the house. Okay. It's qualifying more than anybody thinks. So the thing is, does the seller fit my criteria? So let's talk about it. If the seller wants the most of their house, they say, hey, why don't you go list it with a realtor? I don't want to list it with a realtor. Okay, well, why don't you want to list it with a realtor? Because I don't want the hassle. I don't want to put it on the market. I don't want to deal with all these people. I don't want to deal with any of this BS. Okay, well, if you don't want to deal with all the BS, you just want a quick, easy cash sale. Yes. Okay, well, take a cash offer. It won't be more than no, I want the most, and I want it to be sold for cash for the most. Those don't happen. Okay. It's like saying, I want a 6-pack, but I want to eat 4 entire pizza pies a day. Hey, I want to eat 10,000 calories a day, but I also want a 6-pack. Those two things don't happen. You got to choose one or the other. That's the whole point. And so you got to remember that it's all a game. And you just got to let the seller know, hey, if you want easy, quick, simple cash, go with me. I'll provide it for you. This is my offer. Do you want it? Yes. Does it work for you? You negotiate. If they want too much, then you don't convince somebody to sell their house for a lower price if that's not what they want to do. They want to do it for the speed and convenience of cash. If they don't, they go with the realtor. It's simple as that. A lot of people turn closing into a sport. It's like high pressure. Like I have all the closes, and you guys see all the live closes that I've done. And I've done a lot this year. I've recorded a lot on YouTube. I've gone live a lot in closed sellers. It's mostly just, hey, would you take this really low offer? And I'm not lying. I'm going to tell everyone here at Closing University today, right? I'm in my, not my fancy attire like yesterday, but the whole point of this entire challenge is get deals. And the number one way to get deals is to make lowball offers. And so let me know before we get in the information. Let's get this. Let's get this capiche, okay? Does everybody in here want to make a lot of money on their first deal or their second deal or the next deal you do you want to make a lot of money or a little bit of money? Let me know. Say, I want a lot of money on the deal or a little money on the deal, right? What do you want to make, a lot or a little, right? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. Okay, everyone's saying I want to make a lot of money on the deal. I want to make a lot of money. Okay, So you guys are clearly saying you want to make a lot of money on your deal. Okay. So I just want to kind of get this in right now before we talk about lowballing people. Okay. So everyone's saying they want to make a lot of money. Okay. So let me be honest with you. Okay. I'm the type of guy that people go to when they want to learn how to wholesale real estate. But I'm also that type of guy where people's jaws always drop when they see our testimonials. So when people look at our testimonials in freewholesaling.com, everyone's just like, how are you getting these students to make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 on a wholesale deal? How in the world are you able to do that? I don't get it. And my answer is really clear. This is what Closers University today is about. The reason why I can go out here and make all this dang money in wholesaling real estate is because I am good at two things. Three things technically, but two. Number one, I'm good at finding motivated sellers. And number two, I'm good at lowballing people. That is what we're talking about today. So yesterday, we're talking about producing leads, right? If you call, text, but you'll get leads. Now we got to talk about lowballing people. Now, the art of my whole entire acquisitions 101 for beginners today, right? The entire art of what I'm teaching you today is me being an elite closer is because I'm good at one thing. I'm good at giving a lowball offer without somebody being offended by it. That is it. Got to remember, you will present a lowball offer. And if someone's going to be offended, they're just going to say, F you, get out of my house, or I don't want to deal with you, or they just click end the phone call. That is exactly, okay, what you're going to get. All right. And so the point is, if you can give a lowball offer without anybody being mad at you, and they actually will counter lowball offer, that is where we win. So this concept is what I call the Oreo concept. Okay. Now, Zach, how in the world do you make $60,000? Like, so I showed that $60,000 double close it in Chicago. How do you make 60 grand on a deal? Well, first and foremost, that was a JV deal, right? But what was really cool about it was I can just lowball people like crazy, no problem. And so how do I make all this money on wholesale deals? Let me just share. So I call this the Oreo method. So we're talking about lowballing. Zach, I don't want to lowball. Well, you don't know how to lowball. But this is how I always do it, right? Let's say that you're a dad, okay? You're a dad. Your name's Zach and you're a father. Okay, I have no kids, but let's say you're a dad and you have this little kid. This is your kid. He's like 6 years old. He's got big legs. I don't know why. And he is like a little kid. Let's call him Timmy. Okay. Timmy is going to bed. And before he goes to bed, he wants a dessert. He wants these nice, beautiful case of Oreos. Okay. These are all Oreos. I love Oreos, by the way, right? It's like Oreo, right? These are all little Oreos. Okay. And before bed, Timmy goes into negotiations with me. Okay, this is me. Okay. By the way, Timmy is 4 years old. Okay. Now, this is so funny, but people tell me, Zach, you should never split the difference. Splitting the difference and negotiating is a bad idea. You should never negotiate like all. So let me just tell you how this works. Okay. So if Timmy says, Dad, can I have 6 Oreos for dinner before bed? And I say, no, son, you can have 2. Meet me at the middle. We'll have 4 Oreos. That's a negotiation, right? Makes a lot of sense, right? And so you might be like, I split the difference. I won. See, a lot of people think when you split the difference, nobody wants, like nobody wins. No. Splitting the difference is one of the most insane ways to make a lot of money wholesaling. See, nobody talks about this. They say, don't ever split the difference. Let me tell you the truth. If Timmy comes out here and does that, right, it's kind of a win-win, right? I win, Timmy wins, right? No one really wins in that situation, right? But if Timmy says this, Dad, I want 6,000 Oreos tonight for dinner. And I say, no, son, 2 Oreos. But then Timmy says, well, how about we just split the difference? And I say, that makes a lot of sense. You want what you want, I want. Why don't we just split it down the half? Sure, Timmy, you get 3,000 Oreos for dinner tonight. Did Timmy win the negotiations or did he not win the negotiations? Does anybody know? Timmy won that negotiation. See, everyone says don't ever split the difference. No. If your offer is so insane, if you split the difference of your insane offer, you still make a ton of money, right? So a lot of people like always say, Zach, why do you lowball? Why do you tell people split the difference? That's so dumb. Well, if a property is worth, let's say $100,000, okay, that's the MAO, right? And the seller says, I want to sell you the deal for 80K. And I say, okay, well, how about I buy the property for 40,000, right? We split the difference, 60K, right? I make $40,000 in profit, right? That's the whole point. If I offered you lower, I'd make more money splitting the difference. See, most people want to do what the logical step, okay? That is the whole point, all right? So you got to think, oh my God, 40K is so low. 40K is not what you lock it up for. But if you can present the lowball offer, you are going to win. That is the whole point of this entire closing thing we're talking about tonight, all right? That is how you win. That's how you go out here and get. So you got to remember, lowball over. So the reason why I can go make $100K on a wholesale deal, I can make $80,000 on a wholesale. That's why you guys will post, hey, quick, $42,000. Nobody else in the wholesaling game is doing $40,000 wholesaling deals. You know why? Because we lowball in this house. This is lowball university. I should call it lowball university. Okay. The reason we make a lot of money is because we know how to lowball, but we also know how to do it in a way where nobody gets offended. So that is what we're talking about today at Closers University. Okay. We're excited about it. We're ready. Got some school spirit. Let's break this down. So again, you don't force it though. You don't lowball somebody who doesn't want a cash offer, right? You don't force the sale on somebody. All right. So what is the acquisitions flow? So let me put myself right there. So what is the flow right now of closing a seller? Well, it's usually, if you're locally wholesaling, it's usually a 7-step process. Okay. So step number 1 is what I call MCTP, right? Motivation, condition, time frame, and price. So pretty much what MCTP is, hey, Mr. Seller, I want to see why you're looking to sell the property. Can you tell me a little bit more about the property, condition, time frame, when you're looking to sell, and price? What price do you get rid of the property for? See, the point here is, when does the acquisitions flow start? Now, the acquisitions flow starts right when a seller says, I want to sell my house. That is when closing starts. That's when acquisition starts. So right when somebody says, I want to sell my property, I want to sell my house. Right when somebody says that, we get into MCTP. So again, MCTP stands for motivation, condition, time frame, and price. Simple as that. So again, MCTP. Hey, Mr. Seller, why are you looking to sell the property? C, condition. Can you tell me a little bit more about the property? Can you tell me about the roof, AC, repairs need to be done in the house? T, time frame. Mr. Seller, when are you looking to sell the property? P, price. Hey, Mr. Seller, what's a ballpark range you're looking to sell the property for, right? MCTP. Simple as that, right? Then from there, we're going to go out here and we are going to set the appointment with the seller. So we are going to make sure that they are going to the house with you. And so say, hey, Mr. Seller, tomorrow, 3:00 work for you, right? Done. Then from there, step 3, you're going to underwrite the deal. So we're going to figure out exactly if the deal is a good deal or a bad deal. So we're going to figure out exactly how much to offer the seller on there. And then we're going to condition the seller. So this is a very important part, but we're going to make sure the seller is ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the property. Now we're going to get into all this stuff today. We're going to get in conditioning. We're getting into all this stuff. So I'm just telling you right now, don't get all stressed out. We're going to break it all down today. But again, we're going to condition them for a yes or no decision. Then from there, we're going to go to the house, make them a lowball offer. Then we're going to get the contract signed. We're going to set our expectations and then leave it to dispo for tomorrow to get the property sold and make a ton of money in this business. Now, this is exactly step-by-step what we are going over today. Now, for virtual wholesaling, you kind of get rid of a step because we're not even setting the appointment. So again, standard MCTP, motivation, condition, time frame, price. We're going to condition the seller right there. We're going to underwrite the deal. We're going to make the offer. sign the contract, set our expectations, and go and lock up our next deal. Pretty dang simple. That is our whole entire acquisition flow for virtual wholesaling real estate. Okay. Pretty simple. So let me go. Okay, cool. I think we're working. All right. Awesome. So that's how we do it right there. So the first step, obviously, MCTP conditioning the seller, but we got to underwrite the deal. We got to condition first. Why is it? Okay. Why is that before that? Okay, cool. First, we got to talk about conditioning the seller. So has anybody in here ever been friend zoned in your life? Okay. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever been friend zoned before? Not fun. Now, personally, Zach Ginn doesn't get friend zoned. But basically, friend zone's kind of like when you want to date somebody and then they just kind of say, no, we're just going to be friends. And they kind of catch you in that zone where you kind of want to date them, but you don't because they won't let you, not fun. Basically, that is what most people do when they try to close a seller. So talking about closing, one of the worst possible things to happen when closing is you go out here, you give an offer, say, hey, Mr. Seller, can you take $150,000 for the property? And the seller does this. I'll think about it. And then you're sitting there like this, like, okay, I'll come back and you let me know whatever works for you. And then you sit there like an idiot, right? Like literally when you do that, I just want you to know this is what you look like. You do this. Okay, Mr. Seller, let me know when I'm allowed to get my offer accepted or denied by you. I'll wait at your hand and foot. Like, what? So that is like the worst possible thing. Like legitimately, okay? The worst possible thing. Okay. I'd rather get kicked in the nuts and someone say no than get a maybe. Okay. So a maybe is by far the worst possible thing anyone can tell you. Because when they hit you with a maybe, oh, it's devastating. It's brutal. Okay. It's really bad. And so one thing I'm telling you right now is getting a maybe from a seller is it's the kiss of death. And so you need to avoid a maybe. So when a seller, basically you give an offer to a seller, the seller needs to either say yes or no. Those are the only two options that they are allowed to tell you. And if you are able to do one sentence, like you can literally in 2 sentences, you can avoid any maybe. Would you do it? Let me know, guys, live. Would you do it if you knew there was a 2-sentence thing you can say, like 10 words, and a seller's never going to hit you with a maybe? So you got to remember, let me know in the comments, right? Because you got to remember this too. If a seller says no, everyone thinks that's bad. If a seller says no to a price, guess what? Prices are negotiable, right? So they say no, then we just renegotiate the price. Pretty simple, right? And if they say yes, boom, we lock up a deal, right? The whole point, and I say this a lot, I'm going to write it on the screen for everybody, but legitimately, okay, the whole point is go for no. The whole entire point is go for no. That is the goal. You want to actually get a no, because if you give an offer and someone says yes, I'll take it, you probably could have squeezed more profit out of the deal. So you got to remember that you actually want to know. You don't even want really a yes. I mean, a yes is, I guess, okay if you do a really crazy lowball offer, but like most people just want to know. They want an NO. That's all they possibly want here. So you got to be a little careful here. So to condition a seller to avoid any maybes, okay, what you need to do is you need to hit them with a upfront agreement. So basically what this upfront agreement is called is, hey, it's important that you basically ask this, right? So, hey, Mr. Seller, before I come out and see on the property, I just want to make sure that we're all together on this. Are you ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the house before I come out and see it tomorrow? I just don't want to waste your time or my time. Okay, hit it again. Hey, Mr. Seller, before I come out and actually see the property, are you ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the property? Okay, great. And guess what I found? 95% of the time, the seller always says, yeah, I'm ready to make a yes or no decision right when you come out. Done. So if the seller ever hits you with the, oh, I'll think about it. You always say, hey, I thought we had upfront agreement. I mean, are you a man of your word? Because I'm a man of my word, and I made my word that I was ready to give you a yes or no decision. Now, what's changed? Are you not a man of your word? Then their egos get in. Oh, no, I'm a man of my word. Ah, okay, I'll take it, right? That's the whole entire point here. Pretty impressive, though. It's pretty impressive. So again, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. Are you ready to make a yes or no decision? And if you're not ready, that's fine. I'll come by and, maybe we make an offer next week, next month, right? And you got to remember this. You're going to get a lot of maybes from people who say, I can't make a decision right because of my wife. My wife has to be here with me. Oh, okay. Well, if you can't make a decision because your wife's not going to be here today, how about I just come by tomorrow when your wife's there? Oh, yeah, that's fine. It eliminates all the dang issues with closing. So I'm telling you, just go get an upfront agreement. That is by far the best thing you can be possibly doing. Drives me crazy. And so I'm telling you, it works really dang well. And so again, let's practice one more time. Okay. So right before you give an offer or, before you meet them at the property, if you're doing this virtually. So, hey, Marcel, before I come by the property and actually see it tomorrow, I'll just make sure, so I don't waste your time or my time. Are you ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the property? Virtual wholesaling, I'd probably say, hey, Mr. Seller, but before you get into the next steps here, are you ready to make a yes or no decision on selling your property? So just don't waste my time or your time. Simple as that. That's what you do for virtual wholesaling. Capiche? Now you're not going to hit with a maybe. Now you ain't going to get friend zoned. That's pretty good. Mind blown. Okay. And so a lot of people are like, Zach, how do you still get at closing? How do you always get because they were probably going to say maybe or I'll think about it. But guess what happens? They go out here and yeah, I did say I was going to make a yes or no decision, right? Man. All right, I'll take it. Done. Simple as that, right? Sounds crazy to me. So that's how you go out here and close the right way. So again, but Zach, I need it to be perfectly done. I need to underwrite my deal. I need to get everything right. So, okay. So next part we have to do is we have to underwrite our deal. Now, I'll be honest with you. This is like Wholesaling University. This is not like a 16,000-hour course on how to wholesale real estate. Underwriting the deal is pretty simple. Underwriting the deal is figuring out exactly where you need to be at for your offer. Now, I wish I could tell you that there's a perfect calculation to let you know how much a property's worth. It's really not. So let me expose how much a property is worth or how much a real estate wholesaling deal is worth. So to expose this, I got to show this part. Well, let's go over the math really quick, okay? So right here, quick math. Just showing it right here. There we go. So if you have a property and it's 123 Main Street, right? It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, and it's 1,210 square feet. Okay. Now, what you are going to do here is if you have that said property, what people usually do is they look for comparables. Comparables are also called comps. And what you're going to do is you're going to look for other sold houses in the area. So you're going to look for other sold 4-bedroom, 2 baths that are roughly around that square feet. And you look for comps. The best way to describe this is let's do a 2005 Honda Accord with 150,000 miles. Now, does anybody in here know how much a 2005 Honda Accord with 150,000 miles is worth? Can anybody raise their hand and instantly know exactly what it's worth? Anybody in here know? No, you don't? That's what I thought. What you do is you just go on the internet, you search 2005 Honda Accord, right? So you'll literally go here, you'll go to Google, say, I don't know what it's worth, but let me just look what other ones are selling for. And then you go here, you go to 2005 Honda Accord. And then you go here, you're like, okay, well, let me go out here and go to cars.com, I guess. Let's go out here and say what it's worth, right? So you go out here, you say, okay, well, there's these trims, 16 grand to 17 grand is what this company is looking like they're selling these for. Okay, cool. Let's go back out here. Let's see what these ones, let's just go to for sale. So where they're listed for sale. This one, 2005. So this one is for sale for $126,000 right here. That's not bad at all either. So this one, high price. This one's, $5,000. No, this is a Honda Accord EX. 8,000 is overpriced. So you roughly know this car, it's probably not worth, $1 million, but it's probably not worth like, 1,000, right? You got to look at comps. Comps stand for comparable. So the same thing you do there's with real estate. You look for other 4 bedrooms that are selling within the area. Now, they're pretty simple. So the best way I find comparables is there's 2 ways to do it, right? So you can either go here. You can either use a software like XLeads, which will just tell you exactly what we think the property is worth on our algorithm, which is never 100% perfect. Or you go to ChatGPT and just do an AI repair cost calculator. So let me show you exactly how you underwrite deals with, let's say, the AI, right? So you do it for free. So if you go to Wholesaling.com, we have all the stuff in there. It's right in the modules. Let me show you exactly where it's at. And again, I'm not getting the perfect exact like we're just doing this really simple so we can start going back to making offers and making money, right? Zach, you're not getting perfectly exact to the T. Guys, we could spend 60 hours trying to get the perfect comps for a property. I just don't think it's worth it because we're just going to lowball people either way, right? So if you go here, you go inside of freeholston.com, right? And you'll go to Classroom. All right, let's go to Classroom really quick. All right. Go to Classroom right here. And if you go to ARV, you'll know exactly right here what the ARV, the offers, and all this stuff are. Boom, done. And you'll get our little AI set up right here. So let me show you really quick what it looks like. So all you're going to do is this is how we calculate the MAO and the LAO live. So it's like, Zach, how much do I offer a seller? Pretty dang quick, pretty dang simple. So our AI at freeholston.com. So let me put the banner on the bottom here so we can figure that out. So all you do is let's just use a regular, let's use a real property, for example, right? So let's do this one. Okay. So this is our AI analysis at freeholston.com. So let's say this property is 1,210 square feet. How's the roof? Does it need a new roof? Does it not? It does not need a new roof. It needs updates in the kitchen and it needs new flooring. 1 bathroom needs renovations and 2 bedrooms need renovations. You can throw the Zillow link in there if you want. Let me just put a random one in there. First, a random house. Let's just let's do this one. All right, let's do this one. It's just a random Zillow address right here. We're going to throw it right here. We're going to say no foundation issues. And what's going to do is going to generate a summary. What it generates is basically a prompt you give to AI. Pretty dang simple. Okay, it's literally a prompt you give to AI. Then from there, you're going to copy the prompt and you're going to send it to ChatGPT. You literally press the send to ChatGPT button and it's literally just going to open up ChatGPT for you. And so you can just copy that prompt and give it to ChatGPT. So let me show you what the prompt says. So go here. All righty, we're going to go paste it. And we're going to right here. And it's going to say, give me exact repair cost summary right here. So it's going to go out here. The AI is going to give you a repair cost on this. It's going to say $52,000 is the repairs. Perfect. Okay, well, AI just told me that. So now I'm going to go out here and go back right here. And I'm going to go my MAO calculator. So what's the ARV? So the ARV is going to be what you think it's worth on its best condition. So Zillow says the ARV is 229. Just do the Zillow value if you want to get like crazy, but you can do comps if you want. Really up to you. You can do Zillow comps, AI, whatever you want. I mean, you can even ask ChatGPT what you think the ARV is. It'll literally tell you. But just guess it. 229. Just be sort of right. If repairs are 52,000, that's all you need. Press calculate MAO. It's going to say your MAO is 150,000. Now, what MAO is the max allowable offer. That means it's the most you can ever offer somebody on the property. What that means is that's exactly what a cash buyer would buy the property for. Pretty simple, right? So I'm just telling you right now that means this is the most I can offer. So if I lock up a deal, let's say for $140,000, then I'm going to make on average a $10,000 profit. If I go out here and I offer 160 grand and I lock it up for 160, no buyer's going to even want to buy it. There's no profit to be made. No one's going to want to buy the deal. Simple. Okay. That is how simple this whole business is. And so you just got to remember this. Okay. What is the LAO? LAO stands for your least available offer. So roughly what this calculation is, we've calculated, this is the least you should offer. So this is exactly what your initial offer to the seller should be. On this deal, you should offer $105,000. Simple as that. But Zach, that's way too low. I could care less. I legitimately do not care. If you think the offer's too low, go stay broke. I don't know. If you don't want to make more than $60,000 on your next deal, then get out of here. You're literally watching this because you want to make a ton of money, right? You're not in here to stay broke. You're in here to make a lot of money. And that's what I'm here to tell you today. So I was asking Zach, what site is he using? So we're just basically using our AI calculations and ChatGPT. It's like a mix all together. It's inside of freewholesaling.com. So all you got to do here, go to freewholesaling.com, and more than happy to help you out right there. So yeah, freewholesaling.com, got you right there. So from there, that's how we'll calculate it. Now on another note, you can just use XLeads. So let me show you this. So XLeads is kind of the paid. We talked about XLeads yesterday, right? But basically, XLeads is how I figure out what a property is worth because it's just way quicker. So unfortunately, on states like Texas and non-disclosure states, let me actually tell you what non-disclosure states are. So currently in the states of, let's pop them up. Let's see. So currently the 12 non-disclosure states are Alaska, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, New Mexico, North Dakota, Texas, which is a big one, Utah, and Wyoming. So if you're in any of those states, then the sale price, the amount of property sold for is not on Zillow. It's not publicly available anywhere. You need to have MLS access, which let's look at this. MLS access cost. The MLS does cost $700 to thousands of dollars annually. So you would have to pay thousands of dollars to get MLS access. Guess what? XLeads gives you MLS access included for free. Not like actual MLS access, but MLS data. And so if you have a software like XLeads, so let's use a property in Texas, for example, here. Let's go here. Let's use a property in Texas. So let's do Houston. Right here, right? And let's just choose a random property here. Like this property right here. So this is that's a weird house. That's not what we want. Let's just go to filters. Let's just do a random vacant property. I don't know. All righty, let's do, here's a random property right here, right? Okay, cool. So what I do with XLeads is if I have a property like this, if I have the Pro or the X plan, all I do is I just press Analyze Property, and the AI is going to tell me exactly what the MAO is. It does all the calculations for me. So again, I would get the Pro or the X plan if that's what you want to do. But literally the Deal Ninja AI is going to analyze the whole property and tell us exactly where we got to be at on the deal. Now for our basic users, we give a wholesale value. It's roughly where you kind of should be. But again, it gives you a suggested offer and it tells you exactly what is right from the software. But if you're like, Zach, I want to look at the comps, I want to look at the numbers, I want to look at all this stuff. So all you got to do is just going to press comparables right here and we'll start comping the property. So again, this specific property here in Texas, let me look at it. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So it's 1,240 square feet. So what it's going to do is look at other, we could say, okay, I want to look at other 3-1s. Okay, I want to look at other 3-1s. So 3-1s only. I only want to look at other 3-1s, which we probably shouldn't do, but so now these are other 3-1s within the square feet and sold in the past 6 months. Then you can kind of look, okay, so let's look at here. Okay. This property's good. This property's not. We can kind of go through all this stuff. The cool part is XLeads doesn't go do general like, oh, this is MLS nationwide. No, it actually has deals in every MLS in the country, which is kind of insane. XLeads has. So this will do the Houston Association of Realtors. You get the data straight from the Houston Association of Realtors, their MLS system, which is crazy. And so you're going to be able to go through all the data right here, know exactly how much the deal is worth. And it's pretty sick. So what you do is say, okay, that's a good comp. That's a bad comp. That one's similar square footage like that one. That one's good. I don't like that one. And so we calculate those 3 comps are average price per, wait, that's way too high. Hold on. Yeah, that one's way too high. That was an $8 million property. I don't know why I did. Okay, yes, yes. Yes, no. Okay. Price per square foot on average is $312. So we multiply that $312 calculation because XLeads just does it for us. That is going to be 1,240 multiplied by 312, an ARV of 386,000. That's basically how we figured that out. And that's how you find ARV. Pretty dang simple. MAO, figure out where the repairs are. It's done for you right there. So that's how you use XLeads to figure out exactly how much to underwrite the deal and how much it's worth. Pretty cool. Then from there, we go here and we're going to underwrite our deal. So how do you underwrite the deal? Again, XLeads or ChatGPT with their AI calculations, right? Now you might be saying, Zach, I need to perfectly go out here and calculate what the deal is worth and what the property is worth. Okay, guys, get out of here. Okay, get out of here. All right. Your offer needs to be so dang low, it doesn't matter how much you offer. That is the entire point of today. The offer needs to be so dang low, it doesn't matter. You just need to low ball. Simple as that. That's what the whole point is. Now, the real question here is, okay, Zach, well, I know how much to offer. Cool. I know to condition them. But when I get on the phone with them or I'm in person with them, what do I say? What is the perfect closing script? Right? We get asked that a lot. Oh, this one's pretty dang simple. So let's break down my closing scripts and my best closing lines. And so first and foremost, I think the most used closing line in wholesaling is what I call the standard lowball. Okay. Now, what the standard lowball is basically going out here and just lowballing a person on the phone. So basically, hey, Mr. Seller, would you take $100,000 for your house? Maybe they'll do a little easier. Hey, Mr. Sellers, looking at everything, we'd have to be around $100,000 to buy this property. You just kind of like basically like, bleh. Like you kind of like, yeah, like you kind of upchuck your entire you just upchuck the offer. That's not how I like to do things. That's not how I like to. Doing that's fine, but the seller just says no. The chance of getting a really good offer is not really that good. So I'm not really a big fan of it. And the seller can get mad at you for giving a low. How dare you give me a low ball offer? And then it's like, well, I don't know what to do here, right? That's not my favorite. Now, what I think is working really good, and this is technically not what I teach, but what's really good is what we call a price anchor. Now, what a price anchor is basically you kind of throw an offer out like an anchor and you hope that it goes low, and you pitch such a lowball offer that if they negotiate back, that it's actually a good deal for you. That's not bad. Hey, I have no problem with a price anchor. Now, the thing about a price anchor, which I'm not a big fan of, is you get blamed for making the lowball offer. See, I like giving lowball offers and them not being offended by it. Price anchor, they'll get offended at you and get offended by the offer. That's your biggest issue. And so let's kind of go over some numbers here. So a price anchor is basically like, hey, Mr. Seller, in the ideal world, I would want to buy this property for around $100,000. And you see what they say. Half the time they say, I don't know about that. And then they just or they say, that's way too low. Get out of here. I'm going out here. I'm grabbing a hammer. I'm going to hit you with it unless you get out of this house right now. Woo! It's not good. Not good at all. And so you have a choice. Either Sheila's going to hit you with the hammer or you get out of that house because she's mad at you. And then you say with your slick little salesman thing, no, hey, I said that was the ideal world. Of course I don't want to bite at that. Just pitching it. I mean, what works for you? Sheila still got the hammer and she's going to hit you with it. All right. She's still very, very mad at you. So I have encountered this, and that's why I'm not a big fan of the price anchor, because the person attached that offer with you. So what I'd like to do is I devise this. I call it the reverse price anchor. Okay. So you are doing a price anchor, but the anchor is on somebody else. You blame somebody else for the anchor and not you specifically. Okay. So the way I like to do things is I like to just use a partner. And so I think everyone in here has a partner. You have a cash buyer who's your partner. You have maybe another wholesaler that you're a friend with, that's your partner, right? I always had Rick, so I always just use him. But basically, I always say, hey, I was talking to my partner Rick about the property, and he said he wanted to buy the property for around $100,000. Then from there, you always get the, oh my gosh, how dare you get out of my house? Sheila, she grabs the hammer, and you say, whoa, hey, Bob the Builder over here, chill out. That's Rick. He's crazy. He is nuts. He wants to buy a property for $1. He's nuts. That's the reason why I am here to make the decisions. I'm the decision maker. That's why I'm the guy who goes out and buys properties. Because if Rick was going out here, he'd be on the receiving end of that hammer, Sheila. But that's why I am the person who's meeting at the house. Because I'm actually the reasonable one. Cuckoo. That guy's crazy, right? And then she's like, well, you weren't the guy that came up with that offer. It was him that mentioned that to you. You're just saying what he was mentioning. Okay. So then they're not mad at you. I've never been somebody mad at me from using a reverse price anchoring. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Zach, is that lying? It's not lying to a seller. Legit, have a conversation with your buddy about how much a property is worth. Rick used to tell me before I went on appointment, hey, you should probably buy it around this price. That's how I came up with it. I said, well, Rick said that. Because he did actually say, hey, you want to call Rick on the phone? And just like, oh, hey, Rick, he said that. Boom. It's crazy. It's just hilarious to me, right? So again, most people go out here and they just they freak out on me. So I'm telling you right now, the reverse price anchor, amazing way to close sellers. Now, another one I like, and again, this isn't a terrible one. It's something you should probably have in your tool belt. Is what I call the dollar bill method. Now, what the dollar bill method basically is some sellers play stupid with you. It's really entertaining, but some sellers will actually play stupid dumb with you. So you might ask them, hey, Mr. Seller, I mean, I don't want to get on a tangent here. I get too excited talking about closing sellers. I'm sorry. I get too excited about talking about wholesaling. This is why I'm a, what do they call it? That's why I'm a tenured professor. They can't really, they can't kick me out of the university. But basically, the best situation to happen with closing a seller is you ask them how much they want to sell it for. They tell you, and then you just counter back with a low ball. It's always best if they give the offer. Now, sometimes the seller is going to tell you, hey, Mr. Seller, I have no idea how much I want to sell the property for. You're like, wait, what? What do you mean you have no idea? It's crazy. But I'm telling you right now, most people, right, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know exactly how in the dang world, I came up with this offer. So they'll say, so, Mr. Seller, how much do you want to sell the property for? I have no idea. And then I always hit them with this. Are you sure you have no idea? I have zero clue. And so what happens is they're playing a game with you. They want to go say, oh, well, if you have no idea, I mean, I can buy it for $100,000. No, I want $250,000 for the house right now. Oh, so you lied to me. You didn't have an idea. Oh, well, I just thought about it. Sellers actually play these stupid games with you. And if you haven't been closing enough, you know. A lot of people are in here are shaking their head like, oh my gosh, Zach's 100% right. These people are cuckoo. Welcome to closing. And so what I devised is what we call the dollar bill method. Now, what the dollar bill method basically is you say, hey, Mr. Seller, how much do you want to sell the house for? And they're like, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I say, okay, well, I mean, would you take $1 million for the house? And they say, of course I would. That's way too much. And I say, okay. Obviously, you take $1 million. I mean, I'd take $1 million for my house too, right? And then you basically said, I wouldn't. My house is worth more than that, but okay, I won't get into that right now. Basically, you say, okay, well, I mean, you take $1 million, but let me ask, I mean, would you take $1 for the house? No, of course I wouldn't take $1 for the house. I mean, okay. So I guess we've established you would take not $1, but you take $1 million. So in between there's a price that works for you. They're like, I guess so. So what price? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. Would you take $2 for the house? No. Would you take $3 for the house? No. Okay, well, like, so Mr. Seller, I can play this game with you all day. I can go $3, $4, $5, $6. Like, at what point do you say yes? I don't know. Would you take $6 for the house? No, I take 100,000. Okay, cool. So the point is you get them really frustrated at that, and they go out here and accept your dollar bill method. Now, there's a lot of objections you're going to get from motivated sellers too, and it get a little annoying too. So I'll be real with you, okay? Most people, when you give an offer, they're going to, or you're talking to them on the phone, right? They're going to give you what we call objections. They are literally going to go out here and basically tell you things that they don't really mean, but they're trying to stop you in your tracks. And if you do not answer these questions, they're called objections, you are not going to get the deal closed. So let's talk about the most common objection you're going to get talking to a motivated seller over the phone or in person. Again, the number one thing I always get is, what's your offer? So you call, hey, Mr. Seller, seeing if you're interested in selling your property. What's your offer? Okay, let's give me an offer right now. I know it sounds crazy, but like it's legitimately sellers do this to you. I think everyone in the comments are like, yeah, sellers actually do this. It's crazy. Like it's absolutely crazy, right? And so you're going to get these sellers who are like insane when you call them. And I will tell you, like 5% of the time sellers do this. Turn your volume down on this one. This is what sellers do, right? They say, hey, sorry, are you interested in selling your property? What's your offer? Give me your offer. Zach, give me your offer right now. I need an offer right now. Tell me an offer. What do you want from my house? Give me an offer. No joke. Okay. You get this every day from sellers sometimes. They are so aggressive. I don't even like, are they taking a shot of testosterone? Are they on some like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like steroid cycle? I don't know. Okay. But sellers act like that sometimes, and I hate it. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to hit them. We hit them with a car test drive analogy. So what you're always going to see here is sellers are always going to say this. Hey, Mr. Seller, how much do you want to sell? Oh, what's your offer? What's your offer? What's your offer? What's your offer? And they hear it, and so they want you to say, 200,000. They're trying to break you. Sellers try. I know I don't want this to happen, but they do. So what I like to do is I use my car analogy and be like, Zach, what's the car analogy? The car analogy is once a seller says, what's your offer? And then they're aggressive. They always say, hey, Mr. I would love to give you an offer right now. Because remember, they're screaming at you. What's your offer? 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 You have to just shut them up. And the only thing that'll make them happy is you say you're about to give them an offer. Then they shut up and listen. Hey, I'd love to give you an offer right now. And then they shut up and then they look at you like, but before I do that, let me just ask you one really quick question. Yeah? So they think you're going to ask questions to give them an offer, right? You just say, and you throw them off because they think you're going to ask questions like, how many bedrooms is the house? And no, you're going to have you ever bought a car before? Yeah. Okay. And before you bought the car, did you test drive it? Yeah, of course I did. Yeah. Well, that's the same exact thing I'm doing here. But before I give you an offer, before I buy the house, I have to test drive it. Like I have to go drive and see the house. See, I'm not this type of guy that will just go look at your house and give you a sight unseen offer because That's just not who I am. I remember, Mr. Seller, I'm a man of my word. So when I go to a house and I look at you eye to eye as a person, this is the way our company works. When we give you an offer, it's as solid as done. So if I say I'll buy your house for this price, I'm buying for that price. I don't renege. I don't get out of the deal. I don't renegotiate with you. That's the price I buy it for. And the only way I can actually give you a real cash offer is if I actually really see the house myself. So let me ask you this. When's a good time for me to come by and see the house? And the seller's like, and it's so funny. And I love doing it. But the funniest part about it is if a seller is not motivated, they're going to ask you what is your offer? Because people who own houses are like, what's your offer for my house? They always want to ask what the offer is. But if they are motivated, by the way, if someone's not motivated, they want an offer on their house because they just want generally what someone would offer them. And if somebody is motivated, so they all want offers. But there's only one thing to separate people who want offers from actually a good deal or bad deal. If somebody is willing to let a stranger in their home to get an offer, they are clearly a motivated seller. If somebody doesn't really want to sell, they don't want to bring a weird guy from the street to go see their house to give them an offer because they're really not that interested in it, right? That's the whole point. All right. So what I mean by this is, you know, those friends that say, hey, whenever you're in town, come by anytime. I'd love to hang out with you. And then you come in town, they're like, oh, I'm busy. That's the same analogy, right? And so the point is, I always hit him with I hit him back with like a question, right? So I was like, okay, well, Mr. Seller, like, when's it time for me to come by the house? And they're like, oh, I mean, you can come by tomorrow at 4. Then you know their motive. So if somebody hits you with that, what's your offer? What's your offer? What's your offer? What's your offer? Hey, let's do it one more time. Hey, Mr. Seller, have you ever bought a car before? Yeah. Okay. And before you bought the car, do you have to test drive it? Yeah. That's what I got to do. Like before I go give you an actual offer on your property, I need to test drive the house, right? See, when I give an offer to somebody, I'm a man of my word. My offer is as good as done. So when I see the house, I make an offer. That's my offer. I don't want to renege on the deal. I don't want to renegotiate on this. I don't want to give you an offer. I go and I change it at the last minute. That's just not who I am as a man. And that's not how our company operates. And so my question is like, what's a good time for me to come by the house and test drive it so I give you a real offer? Oh, don't come to my house. Oh, so you're not interested in it. Everyone who's not a motivated seller does not want to go by their house unless they're creepy, I guess, or lonely. But most sellers are like, yeah, come by at 4 o'clock. I need to get this property sold. Simple as that. Easy. So that's how I always do it, right? What's your offer? What's your offer? Now, the next objection, which really gets my gears grinding, is I don't know if I want to sell my house. I don't know. So I was like, hey, seller, are you interested in selling your property? I don't know. Dude, I have gotten this thousands of times, and every time it just like, I get so angry. My blood pressure goes up, okay? And literally the only possible way, all right, that you answer this is simple one. Hey, I mean, before I called you, were you thinking about selling? Not really. Okay, fine. Not a deal. So that's why I always ask, like, I mean, before I go talk to you, were you thinking about selling? Before we talked. No big deal. And again, hey, I have to think about it. Well, didn't we have an upfront agreement? Are you a man of your word? I'm a man of my word. So like you give them an offer, they give you a maybe, right? That's how you answer that one, right? So that's exactly how you make offers to motivated sellers. Now, the next question here is how do you manage your leads, right? This one's pretty dang simple. I put all my leads inside of XLeads. And again, everyone's like, Zach, were you shilling XLeads today? No, I don't shill XLeads. XLeads the best software ever. Everyone obviously knows that. But what I'm trying to let you know is all my leads go inside of XLeads, and it's just the best CRM. So it manages all your leads. You can call from it. You can text the sellers. You can do all of it. I basically use XLeads for pretty much everything I do. Now, for everybody who doesn't have the money for XLeads, I don't leave you out of the water. I actually made a free CRM for your calling, texting, and leads. It's inside of wholesaling.com. So if you want to check it out, you just go to wholesaling.com, go to the marketing or CRMs right there, and you can literally put your leads in there and manage your leads from there and talk to them and make a lot of money. Simple as that. And so that's the first part of Closers University, how we manage leads, how we talk to sellers, how you close them. Now, what I want to do is we have a guest lecturer who's coming up. This is actually a wholesaler who is my age, very young, and they are currently making over $100,000 a month. And I kid you not, and this is not me doing this like hyper, like hyping this guy up. He is one of the best closers that I know, and he's really good at talking to motivated sellers. And he is one of the coaches inside of M2M, and he is going to go teach you guys for free how to start closing. His name is Evan Hamilton. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? It's good to be on here.
I'm glad, man. What's up, bro?
Oh, not much. Ready to drop some knowledge on everybody here. Maybe give you guys something that might help out a little bit.
There we go. I'm ready to go. So first and foremost, Evan, man, tell everybody about you and who you are.
Okay. Yeah. So I watched Zach a lot when I was first getting started. And it's funny because one of the very first events we went to, Zach and I had this little joke that we'd make because I had to have ACL surgery, and bandit signs is one of my number one marketing strategies. So I had just had ACL surgery, and I was so driven to go out here and get my first deal. I had, I don't know, probably 300 of them, and I was out setting them like on crutches. I was, willing to do whatever it took to make it happen. So anyway, I ended up I got leads from that, but I ended up not doing a deal on those. I ended up doing a deal on some PPL leads, which was one of the very first deals I ever did. It was a little bit nerve-wracking, again, similar spot as some of you guys might be that are newer and working some leads. But I was super nervous to get in front of the seller, super nervous to be in person in front of them as well. So I ended up just reaching out to the PPL lead. We had a average conversation where I didn't seem so confident. I negotiated a price that I thought would work, had to go back and renegotiate. And then I ended up making a good offer, and we went under contract. Took me like a week or so to find a buyer, and I ended up just making like $2,500 on it. And that's how pretty much the journey started. I was at it for a long time. Like a lot of you, I've seen people question themselves and compare themselves a lot. Please don't do that. I was at it for like 6 months with no guidance, but I eventually, kicked it out and made it happen. So
here we go. And you got really good at closing sellers, dude.
Yeah, it was something that I practiced a lot and really wanted to get good at, because at the end of the day, marketing and closing sellers is where the money's at.
There we go, man. So let's kind of talk about exactly what you're doing now is obviously you make over 100K a month in your own wholesaling business, right? And basically you're one of the coaches in M2M. You mostly help with systems, closing sellers, and basically making everyone accountable. People can message you, right? What's your definition of M2M in your mind?
I think it's, in my opinion, we all worked really hard on this. I think it's one of the best. Not only there's a ton of knowledge in there and you'll learn a lot, and just the ability to communicate with all of us, but I think that the community in there is very solid. Everyone's helping each other out. Questions are getting answered. Even if I don't get back to it, in like 5 minutes, somebody else in the community can answer the question just because they've already got that answered from us, or they are, they have experience. We have practically everything in there that you would need, videos on everything, written examples, setup. So M2M to me is just, I would go as far as to say it's probably the top wholesaling community for networking and just knowledge. So all day long, man. All day long.
So, all right. So let's talk about this. Okay. So obviously everyone knows M2M is your coach there. It's pretty cool, but let's talk about closing. So obviously you've been listening to my closing system.
Mm-hmm.
How do you close sellers compared to how I do it? Because I know yours is a little different, right? You got your own little, lead management protocol system for it. It's a little different, but it still works. And it works for you, right? It's unique for you. So how do you close sellers?
Yeah. So the ideas are all pretty much the same. There's no really set in stone way to close sellers 100% correctly. Like Zach, I might switch a little bit from Zach, but his methods still work great. And I actually integrate some of those within my own strategies, like good cop, bad, the good cop, bad cop method. I used to do the dollar one back, a lot previously. So like the way that I kind of drop the anchor a little bit, which is what Corey and I like to do a lot, is we like to condition the seller first. So the way that we do that before we even get to the offer is we kind of see what kind of price they're at. And if we already know kind of just off the gate, it's going to be a bit too high, we prep them so that when we give them the offer, they already know a lower offer is coming. So when we do our anchor, we'll look at other properties in the area real quick while we're on the phone with them, and we'll see what things are selling for. And we'll just go, a bit under what those things are selling for by quite a bit. Maybe it depends on that, the area and the ARVs. And we'll just ask them like, we see other properties in the area selling for this. I mean, what would you do if somebody offered you that? And that usually sparks, sometimes like, oh my goodness, like Zach says, that's way too low. I would never do that. I'd have to be $100,000 above that. And that's how you gauge and kind of qualify if the person's willing to work with you or not. So those are ways that, like, that's just another way that you guys can go out here and just anchor sellers. And that's how you qualify them, so that everybody who gets leads, you can rate them on a scale of like, okay, is this a hot lead? Is this a warm lead? Is this a cold lead? Because I wouldn't take somebody that is kind of a bit too high on price and call them, a hot lead. It really helps you sift through the good and bad leads.
Okay. I like that little price anchor on there. And so I guess kind of going through the process that we taught today and like how you implement it, right? So like first on the underwriting, right?
Yeah.
So how are you underwriting your deals? Because I obviously know. I'm just trying to let people know.
So as far as underwriting my deals, as the numbers go, and you obviously need to know a lot about the condition of the house there. I work through the conversation a little bit differently to get the information out of the seller.
Yeah,
so I personally go with why they're looking, I guess it's a little bit different, like what their plan is if they were to sell the property. Like, what's your plan after you sell the property? So I can get a gauged idea on, okay, what avenue am I going to have to go down? What kind of conversation is this going to be? So if they tell me, well, I'm actually moving out, like, okay, where are you moving to? Like, get an idea of the situation on why are they moving? So that you guys can have as much knowledge to use, later on in the conversation. So as far as getting condition, I'll get like where they're going, why they're going there, and then I'll just break into a conversation and I'll just say, okay. And real quick before I do that, Corey and I do this. The way that we do this is we don't want to get them just completely on repairs and stuff. We want them to kind of be like looking down the road on like what it's going to be like after they sell the house. So I don't really go super far in depth on condition personally. I'll get the main ticket items, and other than that, I can make assumptions based off of those on what the condition might be cosmetically. So I always ask the main ticket things, like Zach and Rick have shown you guys for years now. As far as the roof goes, what all could you tell me about the roof? And they'll tell me like, okay, the roof's like 20 years old, 15, 20 years old. I can assume that it's at the end of its life period, but depending on the condition after I look at it, and then I can factor in if it's going to need the roof repaired. HVAC system's a very good one. You need to know, a lot of people just ask how the plumbing is, but you need to also be asking what kind of plumbing's in there. Is it older galvanized plumbing? Is it copper? Is it PEX? Is it PVC? Because you're able to judge then how recently it might have been updated. Same thing with electrical. Electrical is another big one you guys always needed to ask about, because if you have an older house and the wiring's super old, typically it needs to be brought up to code regardless for permit reasons. And you need to ask about the panel, the electrical panel. So those are a lot of the things that I ask so I can get an idea of the condition. And then from there, I will go back and do my due diligence after I end the call with them and just let them know when's a good time for me to come back with you guys. I'll go back and look at my numbers, get a rough ARV, run my formula, put the repairs in there, and now I know this is where I have to be. Like, this is the MAO. So like Zach was saying, if you guys want to make 10K, if MAO is 150, you likely want to lock it up for 140. If it's 150, you want to make 20K, lock it up for 130. Now, there are cases where sometimes buyers, you'll have mom and pop buyers, and then you'll have like the big buyers. Sometimes you might have those people that are willing to pay like an extra 5K. So you might be able to sell it for 155. And then sometimes you run into the opposite case where people only want to buy it for like 145. So that way you guys give yourself enough breathing room to make an assignable fee on it.
Yeah.
So that's the generalized breakdown on how I underwrite things. It's pretty cut and dry, but there is tactics that go into it.
Okay. And so how are you figuring out exactly the offer price? Like how long do you spend basically underwriting a deal?
So this is one I get a lot. So sometimes people overcomplicate comping. I won't spend more than 2-3 minutes comping a property just because I've worked on it so long. It only takes me like 2-3 minutes to see what a property might sell for.
Nationwide, right?
Huh?
Nationwide,
Yes.
usually.
Yeah. I've comped properties in practically every state you guys can think of. Even ones out in the middle of nowhere where it's like super hard to even get comps. Like I've done it all. But yeah, I won't spend more than 2-3 minutes comping a property because this is what I was going to mention earlier, is that ARV is something that you'll never be able to pinpoint exactly. It's always just going to be a rough estimate. So if you're looking around and you're seeing like an average, okay, it's like, here's one that sold for 240, here's one that sold for 260, here's one that sold for 255. You're never going to be able to pinpoint what it actually sell for. Just go with the average, and that's going to be your best bet. It's always a guessing game. So
I completely agree there, man. And so open up we got some questions for you here on here too. So I'm gonna answer some questions, but I'm gonna ask one question for everyone keeps dropping some more on there. But like the other thing I have to ask is like, okay, you gotta give someone like a really sick closing line. So I know you got a lot of them in your arsenal, right? But like, what's a sick closing line that's been working really good?
Okay, so as far as getting to, and Corey and I talk a lot about in the classroom material about psychology, and I feel like what Corey and I do is more about getting them to think about what their life's going to be like after, and not so much focused on the price. So the way that I will do it sometimes, or actually majority of the time, is I'll have the conversation with the seller and I'll go, you know, Mr. Seller, I really have to be at this set price. Is that price good enough for you to go out here and, you know, sell the property and then take care of your daughter, you know, on your own, move into an apartment? See, you ask them if the price is good enough for them to do that, because now they're looking at the numbers not so much upon greed and trying to get the most they can for it. They're looking at it as, okay, is this offer actually enough for me to actually go out here and do this? I might not have as much in my pocket, but is it still able to be an option? Can I still make it work? And yes, they can majority of the time. So I always frame it like that, so that when they pitch their offer, it's more so solving the issue rather than just them getting the highest price based on not so much greed, but being reasonable.
I like that. It's pretty dang good, man. I like it. And then what are some common objections that you find with kind of those methods and your methods of closing?
Some common objections. I feel like some of the main common objections we'll get when it obviously is the one that you guys talked about too. When you first reach out and they're mainly just saying, give me the offer, give me the offer. One of the ways that Corey and I handle that is we'll say, hey, you know, again, I'd love to give you an offer on the house here to see if it even makes sense for either one of us. I don't want to give you something that I don't think I can commit on, or like I can't commit to, because that'd be like throwing spaghetti at the wall and we're just wasting each other's time here. If you actually want to sit down and if selling is something you're interested in doing, you know, we could talk about a little bit further. I can actually give you a definitive number on where I actually need to be at. That way, if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul, you know, we can just move on from there. That's how I kind of handle the just give me an offer objection. Let me think about some other common objections I get. What's my most common objection? I'm pretty good at handling objections, so I kind of just move through them. Can you?
Well, like, I mean, I think one of my favorite ones is basically like, it's not really an objection, but like, it's like, okay, you know, MAO's like 200 and they're at 200. It's like, what, like, it's you're kind of like deadlocked there. It's like, at what point do you know from there? Like, they just won't move on price.
Okay.
You just get out of there. Do you do a follow-up? Like, how do you handle that?
So yeah, if that's like once you get that offer, I am huge on return on time. I don't waste time on people that are just unreasonable and not willing to work with me, because it's almost like a partnership, guys. You're working with the seller, they're working with you to come to one final goal, right? So if they're at 200,000 and that's pretty much retail, I just ask them, you know, I'll do my research on the property, come back to him real quick while I'm on the phone with him. This is all happening while I'm on the first call. Once I get that price, I'll be like, hey, you know, I'm looking around the area here, and I know with what you're looking to get, I'm not here to waste your time or my time. I know I won't be able to do that. I would have to come in, you know, probably quite a bit under that. Is there a reason why you just haven't considered listing the property? And then I go quiet, and they'll usually tell me the common things is, well, I don't want to list with a realtor. One, I don't trust realtors, and two, I don't want to pay all those extra fees. And I want to sell it within 30 days. Like, okay, Mr. Seller, well, within 30 days, with time comes, with you having that short amount of time, which is convenient for you, comes with a more discounted price, because that's a lot of money to throw out there to try to get done in that time frame, especially with title work. So I always revert back and say, I really can't be close to that price. I don't exactly know where I have to be yet, but if you're willing to entertain something under that, I'm thinking, again, this is just looking at the house here and looking at comps while I'm on the call with them. I'll probably go $20,000, $30,000 above roughly what I'm seeing stuff sell for, just to see if they're willing to work with me at all. And I'll say, I'm thinking I'd really have to be somewhere around like 140, 150. That's without even knowing too much about it. Is that something that you'd be willing to entertain? And if they say yes, then you can move the conversation a little bit further down the road and build more rapport, which inevitably allows them to loosen up a little bit, so that after you take a look at the property and you've had the appointment and you can bring up things like, okay, I saw this wrong with the house. This is going to cost this. You're able to use that as like ammo for you to be like, yeah, now I have to be at this price, which is the initial price that you were going to have to be at to begin with. So you don't just smack their knees out from under them at the beginning. You let them know that, hey, I'm going to have to come in quite a bit under that, probably somewhere around here, without knowing too much about it. And then once you know more about it, that's when you come in even under at your guys' discounted price so that you can make a fee on it.
Dude, I like that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, that's an objection right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess some other objections you get right. My favorite is, it's always like, hey, like, I don't know how much I want to sell it for. Like, so how are you squeezing that one out? Like, hey, I don't know how much I want to sell it for.
Okay. I would just ask them. It's very similar to what you asked. Like, I know you don't really know what you're looking to sell it for, but let's say I ask them. Okay, let's go back. Let's say I ask Zach, well, do you know how much you're needing to get for the property? And you're like, I don't know what I'm looking to sell it for. This is my go-to line, and it's like a 90% success rate on this, I promise you. I'll say, well, the only real reason I ask is because if you had something in mind that you were needing to get for the property there, I'd like to see if I can do that number, or at least get somewhere close to it. So that's really the only reason I ask you that. And now that's psychology, guys. Remember, when I say that to them, now they're thinking, okay, he's actually willing to work with me on a number that I deem to be reasonable. So now when they give me that number, I can gauge off of that and either move to the stage where I'm like, hey, actually I can't be near that. I have to be quite a bit under that and move from there. Or if it's reasonable and we're pretty close on numbers, I get a little bit more details about the property. I book the appointment because we're close and I think we can negotiate. You have to feel it out. It's deal by deal, but that's how I get over that one.
Okay. Now, how are you dealing with sellers that hit you kind of with and this is, I mean, you're used to this all day or every day, but like, okay, what if it's like, hey, you're like the fourth guy to talk to me. What's the offer? Like, how do you deal with competition, right? There's multiple offers out there.
Yeah. So a lot of the times when I'm dealing with competition, and you guys will get this a lot, is let's say that these people have had multiple people reach out to them. I'll be like, okay, well, what did those other multiple people do? Like, are they just out here, not even giving you an offer, just wasting your time on a conversation? Like, have you even made it anywhere with them? Like, are you even potentially interested in selling it? Like, if you spoke to 4 people already, I presume you would have sold it. You would have at least had a conversation to sell it already. And I will gauge their interest based on that. So somebody says, again, you're the 4th person to call me. Okay, so there's a couple ways I gauge it. So I have to like brainstorm real quick, but I pretty much ask them why they haven't moved forward with one of those other options. And then they'll break it down to me. Okay, this person ghosted me. I went into contract with this person and they backed out on me last minute. You have to get the idea on what happened and why they didn't go with those people to see if it's worth you moving forward with them at all. Because if they never even got to the point where they're having a conversation with those people, it's likely that they're not really interested in selling the house, or at some point they might have at least considered having a conversation with somebody. So that one's a little bit tricky. There's really no set way, but that's how I gauge at it. Just ask them why, with these other people that have called you, are you even potentially interested in selling it? why haven't you, potentially move forward with one of those other people? Again, just gauge the situation. So
I like that. Hey, beautiful. All right, so let's answer some questions here. So we got a lot of people asking questions. Obviously, I kind of want to give everyone a different perspective on closing. You get my perspective, and you get one of our coaches, Evan, on here on the perspective. But remember, Evan is available 24/7. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyone can basically message it. Once you join M2M, just explain, like, you get access to you, right? Instead of
Correct.
M2M, they can basically message you whenever they want. You and Corey.
Correct. Yep.
So
message us literally anytime. We answer questions. We get back to everybody pretty much no matter what within 24 hours.
Yeah. So any question, deals, whatever, you literally talk to Evan on here. But if you want to join M2M, prices are going to 237 after, I don't know if you looked, 50 more people. Next 50 going up. Better get on quick. But yeah, let's answer some questions.
Okay. Let's get to
it. One thing I really think that's really cool with you, Evan, is how you're doing most of your closing virtually.
Correct.
So I guess the question I wanted to bring you on here is, obviously I want people kind of get to know you a little better too, but like virtual wholesaling, what is your virtual wholesaling process? Because a lot of people, this as a beginner, they get so nervous, but I'm not there. What do I say? Like, so let's do this one first, right? What do you say if someone says, can you come by the house? You don't live there. So how are you handling that?
Yeah, so it's a little bit touchy sometimes, but I do a ton of deals. Like I just did one out in Michigan where we did one for $20,000 and I wasn't local, right? Mm-hmm. So the guy was like, okay, well, when do you want to come by and see it? Like, okay, well, yeah, let's set up a time to come out here and see it. Before we get a definitive time, let me call my partner and actually see when a good time will work for him. And while I do that, let me see, you figure out what time's going to work for you so that we can come back and get something set in stone. So that gives you guys that buffer. You could say, I'm not sure when I'll be able to come out there and take a look at it with me and my partner, or with just my partner, because sometimes I have errands. We really have to see what's going to work best for both of us, or if one can't make it, the other can. So that you give them the idea that, okay, it's him and his partner. One of them might not make it. That person would be you in this case, but the other one can. So then what you would do is you would go out here and then source a bird dog. Me, I have bird dogs in a lot of the states that I do virtual deals in. I call them and I ask them, hey, I have this property I need you to go by and take pictures of and go take a look at for me. I don't need them to close. They don't need to be having a conversation with the seller. They don't need to close the seller, because the seller's main thing is just you putting eyes on the property in person so that they can get the idea that you're legit and you can come see it in person. So I would then get a time that works for my bird dog and then go back to the seller and ask them if this time worked with them. And if they could meet my partner out there at this time, they would, come together on a time frame. My bird dog would go out there, have an introduction with the seller, like, hey, my name's this, blah, blah. Walk through the property. Don't really talk too much. Just say, yeah, I'm going to have to go back and talk to my partner about it. You can tell the bird dog kind of what to say. And then once they come back and you get an idea of all the photos and the condition a little bit more, then you just jump back on the call with the seller and say, hey, I'm sorry I couldn't make the appointment. I had a couple errands I had to run. But just by taking a look at the house here, this is, what we're thinking and where we have to be. So that's what I do when I deal with a lot of virtual. You handle it the same exact way as you would a in-person one. You just schedule it out by telling the seller again that, hey, I might not be able to make it. There's a chance that I can. My partner and I, one of us will make it over there. Let me call him and see if that works. So it's as simple as that. There's no real need to overcomplicate it. In the event that you're not able to source a bird dog, right, or you don't have the funds, that's a little bit trickier of a situation. You can either, one, which you have to be very careful with and vet them out, work with some Facebook groups, or there's a couple other sources where you can get these things, but you can pay somebody like a lower amount to go by and take photos. That's just somebody that you don't really know. It's not something that I really do myself, but there's like on Facebook, you can get people who like will do little odd jobs for like $20, right? But you have to vet them out, or you can work with if you know someone local that is doing deals as well, you can work with them, just send them a disclosure stating like, hey, you're not really allowed to talk to seller. Anything that causes us to actually lose a deal, we're going to have an issue with, and then you can have them go over. But me personally, I think sourcing a bird dog is going to be the easiest bet.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't trust another wholesaler. That's just me.
Neither would I, but
Yeah.
it's like,
That is like, how do you like handle it? So
yeah,
like, I think the biggest problem is the boots on the ground. Like, how do you
yeah.
take pictures? How do you deal with all that stuff? So if you're a betting man, but you had no money, right? I mean, where are you going to go here?
I would, if I had no money and I was a betting man, I would really just, this is like like as honest as it gets. If I can't source anybody to get over there, I'm just going to be very straightforward and just tell the seller like, hey, I'm actually out of town right now. I'm due to be back here in a couple of weeks, but I'm not going to be able to make it to look at the house. Is there any way that you're able to just send me some photos of the property? Just, they don't have to be like these crazy extravagant photos, just like a picture of the outside from the front and the back, and then send me a picture of like each room, and then I'll be able to gauge, kind of what the house is like just from there. I buy a lot of houses, so I can really just take a look through photos 9 times out of 10 and just see what it roughly needs. That's what I would do, because when you don't have any money, it's hard to pay somebody to do anything unless you're going to end up just JVing the deal.
Yeah, I mean, JVing, you're right there. If you had no money, I think JVing is kind of the easiest one.
Yeah.
But like, there's some ways to go get someone to go out here take pictures. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I always do, like, I always ask someone with an iPhone, so it's not like
Yeah.
potato quality Android.
Yeah.
But honestly, you go there, good to go. I mean,
yeah, JV is a good bet, because at that point, the person's not going to try to go behind your back and just try to steal the deal to begin with. You can say, hey, if you're willing to go out here and take a look at it for me, and you can potentially just bring a buyer, then I'd have no problem just JVing it. We'll just got to get it locked up.
simple as that. And so let's answer some questions here we got. So again, I think your virtual wholesaling process is really, really cool. Obviously, it's a little different than mine, but like, it works just as good as mine.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. Anna says, how do you handle a seller asking a ridiculous number, like double the Zestimate?
I just tell them, actually, this one's kind of funny because I'm pretty blunt. Sometimes you just have to be straightforward with the person and not waste your time. I know everybody likes to get stuck on like, this is my only lead. But if the lead's not a quality lead, you're best off just moving on to find another one instead of wasting your time on this one. So if someone's like way above that price, I first ask them, I'm like, okay, Mr. Seller, where did you come up with that price at? And they'll give me some nonsense answer. I'll be like, I haven't seen a house sell for that in this area ever from what I'm looking at here. And they'll be like, well, that's what I need to sell the house here. I'll be like, okay, well, is selling the house even something you want to do? Why, if you're going to get the absolute most you can, then I would just list it if I were you. Because when you guys say that, and I'll tell you the reason why I tell people to just list it half the time if they're just like way in outer space on price, is because if they're not willing to just list it, then they're not really interested in selling it. So if they need that absolute highest number and they don't want to list it, no cash buyer is going to come in and buy that. There's no return there, whether that be to rent it or flip it. There's really no return ever. So and if they don't want to do that price, I'll just tell them I'm not your guy. Just move on. And like, it sounds bad, like I'm just kicking the lead to the side, but I'm not your guy. I think, you might be able to get that if you list it. Best of luck to you. We'll see you. I won't even, honestly, I saw somebody ask this. I won't even add them to a follow-up. They'll get naturally brought back in on a marketing strategy list. Mm-hmm. They'll get hit another time down the road. I don't even want to bother following up with them.
Jesus. I like it. I mean, depends, like if you use a texting system there, but like, so what is, like, obviously I know what the LMP is, right? I know what your whole protocol, but like, if you're giving some advice, like starting out, like beginner, you don't have XLeads, maybe you do have XLeads, right? What would you tell someone how they can manage their leads? Because I think, obviously, you know this, most of the money's made on that end, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do you say follow up with the lead every month, week? Do you have like warm sellers you put in a bucket, cold? Like, how do you manage your leads, and how will you teach somebody watching this right now how they can start managing leads? Let's say they have like 5 leads.
Yeah. So if you guys have 5 leads, I am very strict about where my leads go. And I think it's extremely, extremely important to be able to categorize the quality of a lead, how qualified is it, and where it needs to be at in the pipeline. So if you guys don't have an idea on how often you need to be following up with a lead, whether it's like a cold lead, like a cold lead is something that you guys need to have a set in stone time frame that you need to be following up with them. And after how long of following up with them with no response, well, what do I do with this lead now? Do I just completely kick it out? Do I move it into some other sort of follow-up, right? You need to have an exact set in stone process for every single one of these things, or else you're just going to be shooting from the hip. And you don't want to be shooting from the hip, because that's when deals slip through the cracks, right? And I'm guilty of it. I have had in the past, when I didn't really track all these things like this, I've had several deals slip through the cracks where I'm like, oh, wait, I was working that lead and it just sold to somebody else, right? You don't want that to happen. So what we tell you guys to do a lot is have a system where you have a funnel for these leads. So if it's a cold lead, a hot lead, warm lead, or like even a dead lead, so you can track those and just keep them out of your system. For cold lead, typically what I do is I just follow up once a month, right?
Yeah.
And after a certain amount of time of them being cold, I'll either move them into like a really long-term follow-up, or I'll just get them out of the system. Let's say it's a warm lead, or somebody that I think can convert within the next 30 days. I'll work those pretty much weekly. And this is based on, one, their time frame, like how soon are they looking to sell? If they're looking to sell within 30 days, that's somebody I want to be talking to every single week, no matter what. And then for, let's see here, you need to have a category for like your appointments, right? Like this property's under appointments, and it has this tag on it that says this is when the appointment is, right? These are all just main things that you guys have to have. It's non-negotiable, or else you're going to let leads slip through the crack. Corey and I have ours built out like cold, warm, hot, appointments. This one we put an offer in. This one is under contract. This one I'm sourcing a buyer for. Organization is going to be your key here. So that's what I would say you guys need to primarily focus on, is when you get a lead, where do you put it and what do you do with it? And how often do you follow up? We give you guys all of that when we teach you guys these things, but you need to have that.
Dude, I love it, man. I mean, I guess, we actually got to go on. How do you determine your follow-up process after you make an offer? Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Wait, it's this one right here. So after you make an offer and they say no, like what are your steps going forward there? You say, okay, think about it because your price is too high. Do you call them every week, every day? Like, what's your process with that?
Okay, so typically what I do is after they have given the offer and they pretty much don't accept it, or they tell me they have to think about it, I'll have a follow-up set for the day, or a day or two after. One, to gauge, what's going on with them and where their headspace is at, so that I know where to put them later on. Because if they just tell me they have to think about it, or they're just like, no, like, okay, well, if you don't sell the house here, have you, thought about what might happen with the market? Because it's been a little bit, chaotic recently. If you hold on to the property instead of selling now, it sounds like a little too straightforward, but this works, trust me. Have you thought about, like, if you hold on to the property now and the market flips, you might not be able to get as much as you can for it as you could now? And that could also go on the other hand, but this gets them thinking on, why don't I just sell it now rather than risking it, right? And as far as like at my follow-up process, I'll ask them like, hey, okay, I'll give you some time to think on it. When's a good time for us to reconnect? Because you don't want to just leave it open, because they'll never call you again. Or you'll, like, anytime you call them, they're not going to answer. You get a set in stone time. Like, okay, yeah, well, you can call me, Tuesday. Okay, what time on Tuesday would you like me to give me a call? And this is something I do that you guys could all input, because I love doing this and it makes it seem like you're super busy. If somebody tells me that, hey, yeah, give me a call at 3:00, I'll go, I'm actually pretty busy at 3:00 on that day. Do you think we could do like 2:45 or maybe like, 3:30? I have a lot of things going on that day. And they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this time. And then I'll have that booked, so I know exactly when to call them again. And that's pretty much how I do my follow-up. The psychology behind that, again, is just so that, like, okay, this guy's actually busy. He has to put it in his schedule to call me, or else I'm not going to get a call.
Dude, I love that. Corey says, Evan, acquisitions GOAT. JT. Yeah. They're loving it. This is great, man. Brian asks, hey, guys, how do you handle sellers saying none of your business when trying to talk and make small talk and ask for things? Yeah, those sellers are like they don't even want to talk to you. They how dare you even call me even though I want to sell my house? Like, most boring type of people. Like, so how do you build rapport with those type of people?
Yeah, it's really hard to build rapport with those people because they have a giant wall up. So the way that I do that is, if I ask a question in person, one, you have to think about it is, So like you asked this couple questions. You really have to think like, did I say something wrong, or did I not open up in the correct way for them to continue to have their wallet the whole time? But if it's pretty early on in the conversation and I say something, which it has happened, where they'll be like, that's really none of your business. I don't understand why you're asking me that. It has nothing to do with selling the house. I'll step back and say, oh, I was just kind of curious. Like, let's say you ask them about like where they're going. Like, I was just kind of curious to see if you had a plan, because, some people I've worked with in the past, they just told me they were moving, but they didn't even really know what they were doing. So I was just trying to see like if you had a plan. I apologize. I didn't mean anything by it. So just step back and act like, hey, I was really just curious. I didn't mean anything by it. I was just trying to see, kind of what's going on here. There's so many different scenarios. It's hard for me to break down every single one, but just take that step back, say you were curious and you didn't mean anything by it, and then, proceed through the conversation. At that point, the seller it's really hard for you to get their wall down at that point still. You just kind of have to continue to build as much rapport as you can, even if they're like stiff arming you the whole time. Just get through the conversation. Just say, hey, I want to see if we're, able to help you out here. So let me go back to talk to my partner and see what we can do. I've had so many sellers that are just, giving me the stiff arm. Sometimes you can't change that. But if you just tell them like, hey, I'm going to see if I'm able to, help you out at all. And if I can't, I'll at least let you know what I think your best options are.
Dude, they get so offended, man.
I know, it's crazy.
So angry too. Like, what did I do? You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to help you out here, man.
Oh my gosh. No, it's there we go. Yeah, so let's see what other questions we got here. What's your favorite offer presentation for virtual? So like so I use the good cop, bad cop, reverse price anchor. I mean, I think you do kind of your own, just to answer, because JT keeps asking, he called you the GOAT, so we're going to answer his question.
Yeah.
But basically, you do like a price, you're more like a price anchor. I say it's like a price anchor. I'm not demonizing it, but like, I think yours is more of a price anchor, right?
Yeah. So I'll explain to you how I get to my price. So remember guys, I pre-qualify the heck out of all my leads so that when I offer them, they already know I'm coming in low. So up front is when you need to gauge this. And that again, so that means when you give your offer, you're not just smacking their legs out from under them with a baseball bat. You're able to present it to them and they're able to just take it on the chin and work with you or not, right?
Yeah.
But in the case where you didn't qualify up front, you just need to be very transparent and honest with them and just say, hey, Mr. Seller, my partner really wants us to be at this. I know it's a bit lower than what you were expecting. I tried to run the numbers like every single way to try to make what you were looking to get work. With the way the market is right now and how much things cost, it's really too risky for me to come up too much above this at all. I know he's a little bit low, but do you know what you're absolutely needing? Because I have to see if it's going to work for us. And if it's not, I can at least tell you again, what's going to be your best option from here. That's how I would handle that, right? If I'm just going to like out the gate lowball someone, on that anchor, right?
Okay.
But I anchor at the front by just not telling them this is what my offer is going to be, but just seeing, okay, if somebody, myself or somebody else is going to potentially offer you this, what would you do? Someone would be like, I would never talk to you again. All right. Sounds good. Adios.
There you go.
So that's how I would deal with that.
There we go. And then let's see this one. What's your pre-qualifying process?
So pre-qualifying process. So their time frame has to be relatively soon, or else they just get put on a follow-up. But if it's like something that I think we're going to close in the next month or two, I'd prefer they be looking to sell within the next 30, 60 days. They have to be at least willing to negotiate or work with me on price to a certain extent. And they have to be open to at least letting us get access to the property or sending us photos. Because if they are acting, I'm sure Zach's ran into this before. You don't need to see the property and you don't need an inspection period. I've had that so many times. So you need to make sure that you're able to eventually get access to the property.
I call them the jailhouse lawyer.
Yeah.
They start negotiating like they know what they're talking about. It drives me crazy too. So yeah, those objections are crazy. The whole inspection one is, man, well, hey, I got to go see it. I always say like, a hurricane can always run by the house and just run it over the next 15 days. I'm stuck buying it. So we put that in there. So when I come by and see it, I don't know you, but maybe a squirrel comes in the house, destroys it. Maybe, kids go out here and party. You never know.
Another one of those things is that it's also in the agreement, but you can use this as a backup. So in the agreement, it says that the seller has to produce clear title. But one of the things that you guys can use for inspection period wise is like, hey, I trust what you're saying about the house here, but I have to wait for title to get the title work back so that I can see if it's clear, right? So like what happens if a lien comes up on it or there's a secondhand mortgage? I need that in there so that I'm not just stuck buying it at a price that still doesn't work for me, right? So that you can use that as well to justify your inspection period.
No, you're not off on that one. Let me ask you this. I don't think I've asked you this. What's your largest assignment you've ever had?
64,000.
Whoa! That's not bad. Tell me about that deal.
Yeah, so that was a deal that we actually did off of one of our other marketing strategies. It was direct mail.
Yeah.
She had actually called in, and Corey was out and about, but she called in and said her mother had passed away well, not too recently, but there was a will in place. So we were able to just, kind of move through the probate process pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
But her mother had passed away, and the house she lived out of state, and they were not willing to put any repairs into it. The house was in disarray. Mind you, it's what Zach tells you guys to look for. The crappiest house in the nicest neighborhood. This wasn't really the crappiest house, but its distress level was, right? Fixed up, It's one of the nicest houses in the area. So that was this house. I can't remember the exact numbers on it. I know that we went 64K on it, but I can't remember the ARV or what we offered. But she was like, yeah, I'm thinking about selling it. And I put her through our pre-qualification process. And I said, and this is why you guys need to be looking at the numbers while you're on the phone so that like, okay, this is either it's a smoking deal and you should just book the appointment now, or they're kind of high and you're going to have to work them a little bit after the conversation. Yeah. This lady up front told me what she was looking to get for it. And you don't get too excited. You just go, I really have to come out there and take a look at it, just to see if I'm able to make that work. I actually think my partner's out that way right now. And this is going to be hard if you guys are virtual. You'd have to really set up a quick bird dog or a JV partner. But in this case, Corey was out there in that area. And I said, I can have my partner swing by like right now if you're wanting to. She's like, well, yeah. Mind you, I had already talked her down like an additional 50K from where she was. And then Corey goes out there and gets her another $25,000 under. So that gave us that $64,000 spread. He locked it up. We had a buyer 2 hours later under contract for that $64,000 assignment. And then we had a 14-day closed it out, 64K in 14 days. Jesus. So that one was a really good one.
Dang, dude. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are your best strategies for getting someone down on price?
I try to get them to realize I'll actually break the numbers down to them to a T a lot, as if I actually do buy a lot of properties and we flip a lot of properties ourselves.
No, yeah.
I'm kind of getting away from that a little bit because the market's a little bit sketchy, but so I'll break the numbers down to the seller, and this is how I do it. Let's say you have ARV and your ARV is like 270,000. Mm-hmm. Always drop that by like 20K when you're talking to the seller. Like, hey, when I'm done with this house, I'm probably only going to be able to sell it for like 250,000. And let's say your repair costs are like 45,000. With what I'm needing to do to this property here, I probably got to put about $65,000 into it. So you drop your ARV 20K, raise your repair cost 20K when you're talking to the seller. Now the real numbers, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll say, let's break it down here. I buy it for this. I have to pay this much in points. I have to put this much into it. That leaves me with like $5,000 to be made. So I'm going to put up $250,000 to make $5,000. And the sellers will go, well, yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. And I'll be like, see, I really want to make the numbers work for you and me. I'm just not, I have a minimum profit I have to make for me to warrant the risk, right? So sellers will start to work with you a little bit then. You get them to understand like, okay, just the kitchen alone in this, like, let's say it's a higher end area, just this kitchen alone is going to cost me 20 grand.
Yeah.
Just this bathroom is going to cost me $7 grand. That crack in the foundation, I might have to get that wall supported. there's like so many different ways that you can use to work down on the price and justify why you need to be there. If you can't justify why you have to lower your price, they're not going to work with you because you have no justification on why you're hitting them lower. Right. So justification would be the number one tip that I would give you guys.
I like that. I mean, it's definitely a lot different than how I do it, but it just works still. Like you can do that end. I always just say, well, that's just not where I'm at. You can go renovate the property yourself or go list it yourself, right?
Yeah.
I like that too. Some questions people have about you, Corey. So what's your primary source for getting leads right now?
So primary source of leads is direct mail, cold calling, and niche texting.
I like that. And some other strategies that.
Yeah, we have some other strategies.
But yeah, no, you do a lot, man. But
you do a lot.
What I think is really cool about the way you're doing it virtually, right, is you're doing a stupid amount of volume and you're making a ton of money per deal, right? And so you have a simple
our average assignment fee.
What's your average assignment fee?
$30,000.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
You always show a bunch of dude. It's insane. Okay, enough about you, enough about me, right? So obviously, let's talk more about kind of the wins we're having in M2M, right? So obviously, you're coaching people on the closing and all that end on that end, but like it's kind of half marketing, half closing, half like dispo, right? So
correct.
What is the best value people get from M2M on kind of in your opinion?
The best value? I mean, I think it's all great, but that's just me, right? That's just me, I guess, being biased towards ourselves. But I would say the best value would be the lead management protocol. I would say that's the number one thing. People knowing exactly what to do with their leads, when to follow up with them, how many times to follow up with them. That's probably the number one thing that I would say in there. On top of that, you get to contact, obviously, all of us and ask us certain questions. If you're struggling with this, we can help you with this. If you need help reviewing a lead, we'll help you review the lead. Other than just pure communication, but the LMP, that's probably the number one thing in there for me.
Okay, so what's the LMP?
The LMP is just the system that you guys follow for the exact process for follow-ups. What to do with your warm leads, what to do with your cold leads, how often to follow up with them, when to move them from cold to warm, warm to long-term follow-up. That whole system takes out thinking, like too much thought, and now you guys can just follow it to a T. Like if you have new leads, we tell you exactly, okay, call them this many times a day for this many days. And then once you've called them for this many amount of days, you need to move them to this. And then what you do in that section is what, you call them this amount of times, you send them a text, you move that text, or, there's just so much in there. It's lead management protocol is probably the best thing because marketing's great. And then you get the leads, but it's what you do with the leads that matter. It's the follow-ups because the money is in the follow-up. 9 times, Corey says like 70. I would say probably like maybe like 80% of the time you're not closing these people on the first phone call.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the follow-up that matters. Not being overbearing and following up too much, but following up just enough so that you can be present in their mind when that decision does come to them that they need to sell, that you're the person on the top of their mind that has not been overbearing, but just willing to work with them and build a connection over a certain amount of time just on follow-ups alone. Right. I have a lot of people I have a guy right now. I've been following up with this guy for like 8 months. He loves me. He thinks he thinks we're best friends now. He'll call me, hey, Evan, how's it going? He's got my number saved. And once that deal comes, which it is coming, I'm going to get that deal.
Oh yeah. That's how you went on it, man.
Yeah.
There we go. Divine says just joined M2M. Welcome,
awesome.
Divine.
Awesome.
So what happens when Divine joins M2M? What happens, right?
Yeah. So the second you get in there, you're going to be reached out to go through the onboarding. And that's where you get all like the breakdown of what's going on in there. And then you get a complete breakdown on what you need to be doing for the first 30 days. So there's really no guessing. We wanted to give you guys a step-by-step process so that you don't have to really think too much on, okay, I'm in, now what do I do? We did the thinking for you. There's a sheet that you get, right?
Day by day by day. Perfect.
Day by day by day.
With videos on each thing.
Yep. There's videos, resource attachments. It tells you what to do. You can check it off. And it leaves out like, okay, what do I do now? You just follow it. And we broke it down so that it like perfectly matches up with, unlocking and doing all the acquisitions and dispositions and lead management and KPIs and all that stuff. It breaks it down so that this is when you need to learn this and this is when you need to implement this. You don't need to be focusing on this now. This is what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
It's literally a complete breakdown for you guys.
Dude, it works so well, man. I'm excited about it. Even though I'm already in it. Janny says, Zach, can people with the 9-to-5 join M2M? That's literally the whole point. So the whole point of M2M is you don't need to make a single cold call. We have the texting done for you. We have the whole system. We show you how to do the SMS for you. We'll do the H2P for you. All you do is you follow the system. You get 2 to 4 leads produced every single day, Monday through Friday. You go through the LMP protocol that we have. You go through our step-by-step. You find the buyers the way we teach it. And you like the whole point is with 9-to-5, you come home, the leads are already produced, right? Like we will show you how to produce leads without making a single call, even though they're cold call leads. The texting system set up. You use our call center, which is $4.50 an hour. The same call centers are charging $6 to everybody. Inside of M2M, the same call center, $4.50. Leads are being produced. You follow the step-by-step system. You have a deal. You send it to, Evan, I need help with this deal. Where do I got to be at? You message back. It's all done for you. I mean, most people there have 9-to-5s, right?
Yeah, no. So when you have a 9-to-5, that's what I did when I was first starting. I had a 9-to-5, and it was actually funny for me, but I don't want to talk too much about me. But I had a 9-to-5, and then I quit the 9-to-5. I'm not saying you should do that. And then I would save up money, quit, go to wholesaling. Oh, dang it. Go back to your job, save up money, quit, come back to wholesaling. It's fun. My employers hated me. So it's funny.
Hey, dude, it worked well though, man. And hey, working out well, right? So 9-to-5, the whole point is you have to be able to put some budget in the marketing, but if you put a small, like $500 a month in marketing budget, you can make it work.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't for someone who has a $0 budget. That's literally what the whole point of the whole like university's for. But I tell everyone, if you have a 9-to-5, this is the whole point. Like you throw the money in the marketing, it gets produced. Corey and Evan will literally message you, make sure you're accountable. We check you're accountable every single dang week. Then from there, you close deals. I mean, 250 contracts we have in October, and it wasn't even a full month. And pretty much every single person that followed the system to a T, every single person that filled out that step-by-step, they all got deals.
Yeah.
They all made money. That's the whole. So just so I tell everyone about this, Corey and Evan, they only get paid if you guys close a deal. So he doesn't get anything if you don't close a deal. So he is on everyone's butts, making sure they're doing what they have to do. And when they close a deal, he gets paid on it. Yeah. That's the whole point. If you follow the system to a T and you don't close a deal, he doesn't get paid. So he's incentivized to have you win.
I have to make you guys win. That's
literally the whole point.
Yep.
Dude's running $1 million wholesaling operation. He's taking time in his day to help you guys out. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of it. So Wiz says, any of those get assigned? A ton of them. So, I mean, I'll pop it up right here. I mean,
so actually
this is Derek saying, well, I don't know if this is real. So Derek, if you don't think it's real, do me a favor, bro. Go to wholesaling.com. It's right here. I tagged everyone in here.
Yeah.
Go to Brady. Comment to Brady. Brady, did you really close a $42,000 check? You're a liar.
He's got the checks inside the group. He's got the photos.
Yeah, he's got them in the group. I don't want to show it if he's not in the group.
Well, yeah.
Billionaire can't. Actually, I'll just go in the group and show. Why not? I can go in here, and we'll look at a couple of wins real quick. Let's go to Brady. Where's Brady? Brady should post. Here's a quick one right here. Here's another one. I mean, Brady. I don't think we post this one, Brady.
That was just he's got the checks in there.
He's got another. I mean, we'll just use this one, right? I mean, just ask Brady if that was legit or not. Like, I mean, simple, right? You just go inside M2M, look at all the wins. It's all in there. So yeah, a ton of them.
I mean, heck, we had one of the billionaire. He's actually a really good guy. He just started and he's got over like $30,000 in deals closing.
I know, dude. I love Cam. That's because why we made M2M, because he's in there. He's like, crap. I spent money on the deposit. I need to get my money back. I better get going. And
Yeah.
it lights a fire on people's butts because we're actually keeping you guys accountable. JTREI says, Zach, please have Evan do some PPLs one day for M2M people. Only or on a live, you have to, man, this guy is disgusting at closings. Trust me. We're getting something set up.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm not saying anything. Hey, we're getting something set up with that. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. How do you calculate your MAO, LAO? I mean, I don't go complicated. Your process is a little simple. It's a little different than how I calculate it, but at the end of the day, we lowball. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, right? I lowball the lowest I possibly can get, and then I see if a buyer wants to buy above it.
I was going to say, guys, the lowest allowable offer, in my opinion, is what the lowest amount the seller will accept. If seller's like, okay, if you get an LAO, which is a good like point to make sure that you bake in enough assignment. But if your LAO shows 108 and the seller will accept 85, I'm offering 85. I'm not offering the lowest allowable offer. So it's literally what Zach says, as low as they'll go.
Dude, exactly. And so that's what it is. And so I'm telling everyone, if you want to join M2M, get personally mentored, and if you want to leave a deposit, remember, it's not a payment, it's a deposit, because if you don't get a deal in 90 days, you get all your money back. So it's guaranteed you get a deal in 90 days if you follow the system step by step, which is literally, it's a checklist. You just go down the checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add on that? I mean, it's so simple.
No, the idea here is simplicity scales, complexity fails. You've heard Zach say this countless times before. If you can get in here and not overcomplicate things and just trust what we're telling you guys because it works, and just do the work that it takes to succeed, we can guarantee you that deal in 90 days, but you have to do the work.
Oh, yeah.
That's just it at the end of the day.
There we go. So now we're on scholarship time. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away a free year of XLeads. That's what everyone's waiting for. Awesome. They're all here for Evan, but they're also here for free XLeads scholarship. So what we're going to do is we're going to have everyone go and let's get rid of all these. Let's get rid of all this. This is all crap. So
somebody's going to be super excited. A year of XLeads. Oh, man.
That's nice. I know. Is your email. Okay, what is your...
I just saw a comment that said if a seller's super old, don't just if you guys are working with a senior seller with like dementia or something, always, just a quick tip, always bring in another source of family to let them know like this is what's happening. If you're not okay with this and they're like not mentally there to sell, I don't want to do it unless the whole family's in agreement, because you will get in trouble.
Oh yeah. Right here is our free XLeads giveaway. So if you're on this live and you're watching this, if you want a free year of XLeads, remember, you have to have an XLeads subscription to be inside of M2M. You go here, fill out the document, say prove you're actually on this live stream, and we're going to give away a free year of XLeads. I'm excited for this. So, and then after this, I think we have our, I got my XLeads call, my M2M call to everyone. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
So let's see.
By the way, there's 3 calls a week, everybody. I don't know anybody else that does 3 calls a week.
That's a lot.
3 calls a week is a lot for everybody to take and allocate that towards just sitting on there with you guys and talking with you one-on-one with everybody in the group, just bouncing ideas off each other. Like, we get on there, we give you a subject, and then we open it up to questions, and we try to answer everyone's questions on there.
There we go. All right, everyone's filling it in. So make sure you fill it in. And guys, while you're filling it out, check out joinm2m.com. I'm telling you guys, we'll get your first deal guaranteed in 90 days, or your next deal in 90 days, guaranteed. Like, it's guaranteed. I haven't seen anyone else guarantee that. No,
nobody will, because they're not willing to put their name behind it.
So how do you get M2M? You literally go to joinm2m.com, joinm2m.com. So where can I join M2M? Go to joinm2m.com. There we go. It's fire. There we go. All right, cool. So everyone's filling the information. Again, I'm going to give the link one last time here for everybody. There we go. Pop it in right there. And you're going to fill in your info to win. And you will win a full year.
Oh, my goodness.
Of XLeads. All right. There we go.
That's a lot of money he's saving on winning a year of XLeads. So whoever wins better put it to use.
Oh, dude, I know. Need to have XLeads first. So you do need to have a software for this. And the only software to get is XLeads. So do we click other?
That's the thing. Inside of XLeads, we have, for just the M2M guys right now, we built stuff out that Zach might have mentioned you guys yesterday, packages and stuff that we can just put in, to the accounts that again, it's very simplistic. You don't really have to build anything out. It's there for you. You just start using it. So that's the sweet thing about M2M. We built those out for you.
I think I asked one of the questions wrong on it. So if you want to go back on the form, 100 or more, just go right here and we're good to go. But Corey, thank you Evan, sorry. Thank you so much for hopping on, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'll call you after this. But basically, I don't waste too much of your time, but I'm going to let everyone fill in their info for a second here. They're going to win.
Awesome. All right, guys. It was great being on here with you guys. I was happy to answer your guys' questions. Join M2M. We'll see you on there.
All right. Thanks, Evan.
See you, man.
Oh, there we go. Shout out to Evan on there. Give some love and support on there. Yeah, sorry. We got to change the name on there. So, yeah, we just changed the email. So just click other, put your email, you'll be good to go. But Faye says, that was gold. Of course it was. It's absolutely amazing. Shout out to Evan on that. That was awesome, dude. All right, so we're filling out everything. So, everyone's in here. They're ready to win. I'm excited. So let's go out here and see who's on here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Got everyone's info. All right, guys, I'm going to give everybody 60 more seconds to fill in their info. I'm going to put the link one more time on here. All right, let's fill this out right here. All right, so here's the last link to get your XLeads for a year completely for free. Let's go out here and alrighty. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alrighty, beautiful. Alrighty, let's go. There we go. All right, beautiful. Alrighty. Alrighty, we've got everyone on here. We're about to win a whole year of XLeads. 60 seconds. We're getting there. All right, we're almost there. 60 seconds. XLeads for a year. All right, let me fill in everyone's info. Put it right here. Jeez, everyone's putting in their info. I like it. All righty, 45 seconds. We're going for a full minute here. After 60 seconds, it's over. Fill it out, fill it out. Fill it out. I've been cold calling leads from XLeads for over a month now. Should I change my strategy or stick with it? Emil Carr, what's been your results on it? Have you gotten deals, leads? What's your contact rate? Curious about it. And remember, if you don't win the year of XLeads, just go to XLeads.com and sign up. It's $97 a month. You literally have won. Just getting for $90. I should charge $200 a month for XLeads, and then I could probably give someone a giveaway for a 50% off coupon for $97 a month. You guys would go crazy on it. You know, I have the power to just double the price on XLeads. Everyone would buy it, right? Bro, I'm going to buy XLeads. Go buy XLeads. Go to XLeads.com. Of course. All right, so let's go out here. We are past a minute, so let's go out here. And yeah, if you want to check it out, go to XLeads.com. I got everyone's names. Appreciate everybody going out here. All righty, so let's get rid of the duplicates. I'm not dumb. So remove duplicates. All right, let's see here. Got all the names. Oops, just copying it over here. All right, we got 124. Let's go. All righty. Hopefully you see your name here, and hopefully you win an entire year of XLeads.com, the best wholesaling software. XLeads. All righty. Let's keep going. Let's break this down, and let's give a free full year of XLeads completely for free. Come on. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Who's winning a whole year of XLeads for free? Oh! Sarah Vang has won. Sarah Vang, do me a favor. Email support at XLeads.com, and we'll help you out. So go there, go to support at XLeads.com, say you're a winner, show us a driver's license saying that you won, show us your actual name, say that you won, and you have won a full year of XLeads completely for free. Congratulations. That's over $1,000 right there. And guys, tomorrow, stay tuned for day 3 of Wholesaling University. Dispo University is tomorrow. Pretty excited about it. So guys, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn sending out day 2 of Wholesaling University.